Hey, what's up? My name is Brandon James. Today we're looking at the story found in 1 Samuel 16, 1 through 13. And it's a story about rebellion, about kings, and about usurping authority. So if that's of interest to you, stick around. I encourage you to read the section for yourself, but we are going to kind of go through it a little bit together. So hopefully, even if you don't read it, you can still follow along. The story's setup is with Saul being rejected as the king of Israel. But how did he get there? First, we have to go back to 1 Samuel 9:2, which tells us that Saul was handsome and he was a tall man. The tallest around. He stood a head above everyone. He had attributes that stood out. And when looking for lost donkeys of his family, Saul and his servants become lost. They know of a prophet who can guide them and can show them the way home, and so they head to visit this prophet, this seer. And this prophet's name was Samuel. And just the day before, God had spoken to Samuel and told him that a man would come and that this man was to be appointed and anointed as the commander of the people of Israel. This man was supposed to be king. And so when Saul meets up with Samuel, Samuel offers him a seat at this feast, a seat of honor. And Samuel gives Saul this prophecy and tells him everything that's going to happen, and it happens. So shortly after this, then, Samuel gathers the nation, and he declares that Saul is king, but he gives them this warning. He gives the people this warning as well, that they had rejected God as their king and insisted on a human ruler. But the people see Saul. He looks like a king. He's been anointed as king, and so they say, "Long live the king." The people reject God as their king and instead seek man to be their king, like all the other nations around them. And so after a time, Saul begins to be king, but he begins to ignore the one who made him king. In 1 Samuel 15, right before the section we're really looking at, we see the story of Saul who's disobeying the order of God. God speaks with Samuel and tells him that he regrets making Saul king. Samuel grieves along with God about Saul and his actions, and Samuel declares to Saul that God made him king and God has removed his kingship. And that's where our story in 1 Samuel 16 takes place. Samuel has already told Saul of his rejection, and now Samuel has been tasked to anoint the new king, the true king of Israel. Samuel is still nervous about this task because Saul is still king. He still has political power. He's got physical strength. He's been the king. People, they respect Saul, but God tells Samuel to do this task anyway. God gives him this cover story of bring a heifer, bring a cow with you to go sacrifice. Go to Bethlehem, bring this heifer, meet Jesse, and anoint the person I show you to be king. And Samuel obeys. When he arrives in Bethlehem, he meets the city elders. These are the people in charge of the town, and they are nervous seeing Samuel. They ask Samuel if he comes in peace. He does come in peace, but his actions could still cause conflict. Samuel sees Jesse, tells him to prepare himself and his family to attend this sacrifice, and Jesse obliges. He comes to the sacrifice, and this really would have been an honor to the family, but I'm sure in this point, Jesse is still a little apprehensive. But Jesse has many sons. And when Samuel sees the first son, he thinks that this must be the next king. He's handsome, he's tall, he looks strong. He has the presence of a king, but God tells Samuel this is not the next king. God tells him that he has only looked at the appearance of this man and not the inner life. While humans are focused on the attractiveness, the well-dressedness of people, God cares more about their heart, about their actions. Are they kind? Are they loving? Are they compassionate, joyful, selfless? A person that follows after God and cares for people. Samuel listens to this, and the next son is passed by, and the next, until there are no sons left to evaluate. None of these sons are who God has appointed to be king. And so Samuel asks Jesse, "Do you have any more sons?" And Jesse tells him that he has one more. The son's out taking care of the sheep. He's the youngest son. He's the smallest son. The son with no real social standing, but this is the son that God had chosen. His name was David, and the group waits for him to arrive. Once David joins the group, Samuel anoints him with oil. This anointing was the declaration that this is the king. The oil is a symbol to the group that would be small, that they had witnessed God blessing a new king. And so as you hear that story, does it make you consider how you view others? Are you concerned with how people appear on the outside? Maybe you compare yourself to the beauty standards of Instagram models. Maybe you're envious of the person driving that nice car. Maybe you are judging that person wearing dirty clothes and think, at least my clothes are nicer than that. These comparisons show us that we are the ones judging the appearance of others. We are the ones looking at the outside appearances while forgetting that the heart is what matters. God looks at the inner life. How are you treating others? Are you seeking selfish gains? Are you standing on the street corner shouting hate? Are you fighting for foreigners to have easy access to safety? The list goes on. God judges humans in a very different way than we judge each other. God cares more about living a life that is showing love to other humans, and above all, a life that is focused on loving God. And so knowing that God doesn't look at people the same way you might is an encouragement. It's a warning, and it's a chance to act. The encouragement is that God sees you for who you are. God does not judge you based on the clothes you wear, the color of your hair, or any other outward appearances. God judges the heart. And because of this, you must evaluate your heart. Are you holding on to anger? Are you acting with judgment? Or are you giving those things to God? Last is a chance to act. You must look at others the way that God looks at others. Give people respect, care, and grace because they are made in the image of God. And that's all that matters. So now that you've heard this story and thought a little bit about it, know that you can have a guide to help you walk through this story more in depth. I call it a story guide. It's linked in the description, free to you if you want it. And as always, remember to enter, to join, and to share the story. See you in the next one.